Hi and good afternoon, it's Gene from maverickstar Ops. Guys, I'm working on something over the next few days which I'll be putting together for you. It has to be in a certain amount of detail so that you fully understand what our objective is here and what we're trying to show you guys. You know, we're trying to wake you up to understand there's something else going on, and it is beyond really the control of most of us. I mean that on a big scale. Some of the things you might be adhered to recently from probably some of the other people that you tune into on YouTube, on their social media networks, talking specifically about Egyptians and their corruptions and how their society collapsed. It goes even further beyond that, and that's what we're talking about here. You're going to be asking, what's all this got to do with the pole shift? It has everything to do with the pole shift. Pole shift is side by side by climate change. It's not because of CO2 going into the atmosphere. We all know that. So what I really wanted to do is just a quick video, not keep you too long, but obviously you're going to be wondering why we're looking at this statue of Lucifer. I'll get to that in a few seconds, but I just want to say a big thanks to those few people that are hanging in there, you know, funding our observatory at a very critical time. Couldn't be any worse, but those people still stand up to that line and help fund what we do. Just yesterday we sent out to another superstar that has come on board and has accepted one of our magnetometers in Colombia. That gets us in the region of the mid-Atlantic anomaly, the South Atlantic anomaly. And you know, we know why that's important. Maybe in a few months time we'll have also a muon detector measuring, you know, the muons in that region. And the reason why we'd be interested in that is because, as you know, collisions in the upper atmosphere form subatomic particles. Those are muons, and that's an indication that there is more collisions going on if the muon count is going up. And of course, in the crack of our Earth, magnetic field, or the magnetosphere that protects us in that region, is the weakest intensity, so we would expect more muons to be on the increase. Okay, so that's what's going to happen over the next few days. I'm sure you're going to totally appreciate what I've put together, and it's not like me to normally do this, but I feel I need to take you back in history in order for you to understand what is going on right now, and it is twofold. I'll just give you this right here and now. We're talking climatic events and governmental or empirical corruption, and how the two overlap with no coincidence in our history, which causes and brings about, you know, to say the least, utter chaos. You know, this is a groundbreaker event that we're living in, and you've heard from some of these big organisations, these financial organisations, saying that what is on the precipice right now is unprecedented in human history, and I will explain in a few days what that is. So getting back to why we're looking at Lucifer in the British Museum in Birmingham, why is this, you know, the screen that you're looking at? Well, I found it very odd the other day that when I went into Birmingham for a few things, I was with my partner, and I said, let's go and pop into the museum, because she hadn't never been in there. I said, it's quite interesting, it's got some Egyptian stuff in there, and the reason why at the moment, you know, Egyptians artifacts and things like that are on the agenda, because we're planning a trip in September to Egypt, and we'll be going to the Temple of Seti, and of course I'm going to take some video footage and share those things with you. But what I couldn't believe is that the museum has closed down, and really the only artifact that was on show was this statue of Lucifer. I couldn't believe it, and I waited patiently for about 15 minutes before I could grab one of their staff's attentions to ask them, you know, the museum seems shut down yet still open, and the only thing on display is this statue of Lucifer and a couple of other objects of, you know, really no significance. What we wanted to see was those mummified things that related to Egypt. I thought that'd be a good thing, being we're going to be going there in a few months. And she said to me, yeah, the museum's closed for the next 2 years because they're undergoing rewiring, electrical rewiring. And I just thought, well, that seems really odd that you close the museum down and 800,000 artifacts for rewiring instead of staging it so you could keep the majority of the museum open whilst, you know, those works are concentrated to specific areas. And the other thing that I found was alarming, it was the fact that, you know, you're going to close it down for 2 years, and you've just told me that. You know, I just want to say sometimes I think a little bit out the box. I could be completely wrong. That could be the real reason why they've shut the majority down, probably 98% of the museum down, and all its artifacts that are usually on display to the general public, for that reason. It's not the way I would manage a shutdown. But then I thought, you know, what if the UK was expecting to go to war? Would you shut down the museum to the majority of people, move those artifacts out to a more safer place? Because if one missile was to hit this museum, it would obviously mean that you couldn't replace these artifacts ever again. And you can imagine that the 800 artifacts that they have on display in general would be worth billions and billions of pounds. Some of them are priceless. So is this what we're seeing? Went through my mind. I'm just sharing this with you. Are we seeing them sneak out the back doors all these valuable objects of our history, things that cannot be replaced, and are they moving them to a safer place? I'll just say this before we went into the museum. It was very strange to see what looked like vans going into the museum entrance, you know, the back doors of the museum, that we saw this, and have so many people guiding these trucks that was going in there. Now think about it. If you're expecting a war with another country, and you can put two and two together here, you know who I'm talking about, you are probably going to want to protect those things before that happens. Things that you can't replace. And I think that is where my thoughts are right now with what we're seeing. I was just wondering if other museums in London and Manchester have done the same thing. You know, are they online, open to the public, but when you get there, most of the exhibits are closed to the public? And we all know what happens, don't we? You know, the museums generally share the objects between them, so you know they swap and change them. You know, but was Birmingham selected to have these objects placed within them, which could be probably the most priceless items, and are they putting them away for safekeeping because they suspect that war is going to take place soon? Anyhow, you know, I think the fact that Lucifer was the only thing on show was a little bit odd. You know, that was the main exhibit, what you're looking at here. And you could easily have probably thoughts on other things, like, I don't know, I probably feel a little bit putting it out there on the line, maybe it's too much, but Lucifer and Russia's nuclear bomb, Satan too, is it? I think that person both shares the same name. I don't know. Is there something in that? I don't know. I'll leave it out there for you in any case. But we will be getting back down to business here at the observatory with regards to what is taking place within current events, with the magnetic anomaly. Obviously, within the next week, we'll have some test results from Colombia, from one of our superstars now who's joined us, Michael, over there. And we'll be doing our regular business, like Earth Health at a glance, perhaps tomorrow, and in the next couple of days I'll put together these things that I think might just turn that lock in your thoughts as to maybe we're here right now facing something like a lot of people are already aware of, and describing it as unprecedented in human history. I really want you to join me in hearing what I've got to say, because I think it just cuts through all the fog and gets down to the point. And I will try my best to keep it conform to simplicities. If you want to do further research on these things, I think you're going to agree I'm right on this. But I'll just deliver it in the fashion that I usually do, and you give me your thoughts on that, guys. Over the next few months, we're going to be making a few more magnetometers and muon detectors to go out to various places. All the hard work has been done, but I'm sorry, I just don't have the finances of £100 plus a throw for the silicon photo multipliers. So we need funding here to keep us going in at least the material aspect of what we build and take and ship out. So we need help there. If you can, the link is down there in the description. Please support us, and if you want to support us on Patreon as well. We're at 50,000, which I was really delighted yesterday. We just passed the threshold of 50,000 subscribers. But in general, we have probably what we have view our last video, and that in that case it was 5,000. We're lucky that on our website we have 20,000 people view that every week. But the funding is slowly becoming worse than it ever has done, guys. What we're trying to do is keep people informed, and we've put a lot of hard work in here at the observatory, and people are sacrificing their time. And what we just require is a little bit of help from just a few of you guys out there. And I won't go any further than that. The link's down there in the description, and stay with us over the next few days, because I think it's going to get interesting, really interesting, and you won't be disappointed with what we reveal. Guys, have an amazing day. Say what I usually do. Bye for now.